Hi everybody, it's Wednesday and I am missing being together a lot and I am counting down the days until we can be back together. But I am fine and I hope you guys are all healthy and just enjoying some time at home. I'm in my kitchen and I was thinking today that we never got to do our ice things that we were going to do on Monday. So some of you made your ice, I know already, your block of ice. If you didn't, that's fine. You can just watch me, or you can make one, and then you can do some of this stuff tomorrow if you want, just to kind of play around. But we were gonna basically sit around in circle time and have our ice and talk about different things we can put on ice and what it will do and how we melt ice and yeah, just have a little fun. So I'm just gonna show you the different things. Now, it's not as cool as when we are in person because you're not gonna be able to hear it as good or see it as good, but I'm gonna try to show you, and then if you wanna do it at home, you can. So the first thing that we are gonna do is talk about what melts ice the best, or just kind of what melts ice. So ice is very cold, so let's talk about this for a minute. If you put in cold water with the ice, do you think it would melt it really good, or would it not melt it? And you're right. If you put cold water into the ice, it's not going to really melt it. But if you put really hot water into the ice, what do you think is going to happen? It is going to melt. It's going to start melting it even faster. Now, the cool thing about it that I wanted you to be able to hear, that I don't know if you're going to be able to hear, is like when you put in water, like really hot water into ice, sometimes it kind of talks to us a little bit. And it's actually cooler when you have a block of ice, but I don't have that. So if you do it at home, you might actually be able to hear that. But I'm going to get some hot water. All right, so well, let's see if we can hear anything. It's talking to me a little bit. It's just doing teeny little cracks in the ice, so that that's what you're hearing when it sounds like the ice is just making little sounds. It's because it's like getting little cracks because the hot water is really starting to melt it. Now, if I put cold water in, it's not going to do that really. So anyway, sorry that you couldn't hear that really good. The other thing that I was going to show you today is that I'm going to put a little bit of baking soda on my big block of ice that I have. And then I put some vinegar into my cup with a little color just to make it cool. And then we're going to watch what happens. You hear that? So the vinegar and the baking soda made it really fizzy. Can you hear that? I'm gonna do one more pour so that you can really hear it. All right, here I go, last one. So anyway, that is really fun to do at home. If you have little droppers, you can use droppers, or you can just pour it like I did. And you don't even have to use colored water. You can just use plain vinegar and baking soda, and it's gonna do this same kind of bubbly stuff, which is really fun. All right, so that was the one thing that I was gonna do. The last thing that we were gonna do is we were gonna use salt, and we are going to see how salt melts ice. Now, I want you to think about this because this week we had so much ice. You remember how slippery it was outside of your house, like in your driveway and sidewalk. And your mom and dad probably had to take some salt that they bought at the store, not this kind of salt, but outside salt. And they would go out and put it on your sidewalk and your driveway, and then it's not so slippery. So what does that tell us about salt and ice? I think it tells us that salt helps to melt the ice because it worked at our house, and I'm assuming it did at yours. So the other thing that we were gonna do was we were gonna put salt Oh, now that was interesting. When I put the salt in with the vinegar, it also bubbled. I didn't know it was gonna do that. Anyway, we were gonna put salt on the ice because you would then be able to see how much it's gonna help melt the ice little by little, not super fast, but you could then have a little tool that you could hit the edges with and the top with, and it's gonna really start to melt. I'm gonna try this one more time. Not quite as much of a fizz, but that was still cool. So anyway, we learned that salt is very good at melting ice, and hot water too can melt it in your bowl or in your cup. So that was all we were gonna do with the ice, but hopefully you guys can play around with it at home a little bit. And yeah, I miss you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.